The book of Genesis contains mysteries far deeper than most people ever realize. Hidden among the stories of creation, the long family lines, and the holy covenants is a nearly forgotten event, an enormous war that shook the ancient world during the lifetime of Abraham. Imagine the scene: 4 kings, each ruling powerful nations, marching together to confront an enemy that seemed impossible to defeat, an army of 10,000 giants. Could these have been the Nephilim, the legendary offspring of fallen angels that ancient writings describe and early civilizations feared? But who exactly were these kings? What kinds of societies were bold enough to face such a terrifying force? And even more puzzling, why was this battle erased from common history and nearly wiped from human memory? The truth is far more surprising than anyone might expect. Ancient writings mention 3 different breeds of giants, each possessing unique strength, appearance, and abilities. These massive beings, towering far above normal humans, may have been the final remnants of a forgotten era. Would you like to discover how this war unfolded and the secrets buried within it? Then prepare yourself for a journey unlike any other. Like, share, and leave your thoughts, so more people can awaken to this story buried under centuries of dust. The truth is rising again, and it may challenge everything you thought you understood about the origins of humankind. This was no ordinary event. It was a massive battle lost in the fog of ancient history, a conflict of unimaginable scale, fought when Abraham walked the earth. Mighty kings and entire armies collided in a war whose echo still lingers through the ages. Yet few understand one crucial detail. This was not a simple struggle between human nations. Beneath the clash of weapons, something far greater, something giant, was involved. Genesis chapter 14 records this extraordinary episode, describing a confrontation between 4 kings and 5. But behind what appears to be a political or territorial dispute hides a deeper, far more unsettling truth. This war included a legion of 10,000 giants, enormous beings whose existence challenges the usual understanding of history. Who were these kings that dared to stand against beings beyond human limits? What civilizations gathered such a powerful alliance? And who were these giants, the monstrous warriors who fought and died on the ancient battlefield? Where did they come from? And what became of their kind after the war ended? Now let us step into this mysterious chapter together, Genesis 14, where the lines of scripture preserve the memory of a war almost forgotten. And it happened in the days of Amraphel, king of Shinar, Arioch, king of Elasar, Chedorlaomer, king of Elam, and Tidal, king of nations. These came to fight against Bera, king of Sodom, Birsha, king of Gomorrah, Shinab, king of Admah, Shemeber, king of Zeboim, and the king of Bela, which is Zoar. All of them joined together in the valley of Siddim, which is the Salt Sea. For 12 years the kingdom served Chedorlaomer, but in the 13th year they rebelled against him. Then in the 14th year, Chedorlaomer and the kings allied with him returned and attacked with overwhelming force. They struck down the Rephaim in Ashtaroth Karnaim, the Zuzim in Ham, the Emim in Shaveh Kiriathaim, and the Horites in their mountains of Seir, all the way to El Paran near the wilderness. Afterward they came back toward En Mishpat, which is Kadesh, and destroyed the entire region of the Amalekites, as well as the Amorites who lived in Hazazon Tamar. At that point, the kings of Sodom, Gomorrah, Admah, Zeboim, and Bela Zoar marched out and prepared for battle against them in the valley of Siddim. It became 4 kings against 5. But the valley of Siddim was filled with tar pits, and the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah fled. They fell into the pits, and those who survived escaped into the mountains. The invaders seized everything from Sodom and Gomorrah, their wealth, their supplies, and left. They also captured Lot, Abraham's nephew who lived in Sodom, along with all his possessions, and carried him away. When Abraham heard that his relative had been taken prisoner, he acted immediately. He armed 318 trained men, born in his own household, and pursued the enemy as far as Dan. Under the cover of night, he divided his warriors, attacked, and defeated them, chasing them all the way to Hobah, north of Damascus. Abraham recovered all the goods, rescued Lot, and brought back the women and the rest of the captives. After Abraham returned from defeating Chedorlaomer and the kings with him, the king of Sodom went out to meet him in the valley of Shaveh, also known as the King's Valley. But this story does not truly begin here. Its origins reach far deeper into an ancient land wrapped in mystery, Shinar. Shinar, a name that roars through time like distant thunder. This ancient term refers to Sumer, the birthplace of the earliest kings and the first known civilizations. It was a rich land where mighty empires rose, majestic ziggurats were built, and humanity first carved its writing into clay. Many identify Shinar with Babylon, a powerful center of early knowledge and authority. According to ancient traditions, it was a realm where the earliest empires grew under the influence of mysterious, ancient gods, beings said to have taught humanity the skills of science, war, and rule. In this primeval setting appears Amraphel, king of Shinar, marching alongside Tidal, king of nations, Arioch, king of Elisar, and Chedorlaomer, king of Elam. Together they formed a terrifying alliance, sweeping through Sodom and the cities around it in a brutal campaign. Their attack turned the valley of Siddim into a desolate wasteland, a battlefield where kings and giants collapsed together. But there is a detail even more shocking, one that completely alters the scale of this ancient conflict. These armies were not just fighting human opponents. They battled massive beings, creatures so huge and fearsome that official history has chosen to ignore them entirely. These giants, described in ancient stories, were said to have walked beside kings and warriors, leaving behind marks as deep and permanent as the earliest foundations of human civilization. Among the rulers who took part in this war, one name stands out like a puzzle piece: Amraphel. But who exactly was this mysterious figure? Some researchers suggest that Amraphel may not have been a personal name at all, but rather an old Sumerian royal title. There are theories linking him to Quintar Rastu, a legendary king of Sumer, whose name could mean the Great Man. This theory is based on how the ancient Mesopotamian languages were formed. Quinta could correspond to the prefix Am, found in the Hebrew form Amraphel, while Rastu may come from Rapal, a Semitic word that expresses spiritual might, authority, and rulership. If this interpretation is accurate, then Amraphel was far more than an ordinary king. He might have been a leader trained in forgotten secrets, someone who still possessed fragments of forbidden knowledge left over from before the flood. His reason for going to war may have gone far deeper than typical political motives. It may not have been about gaining land or forcing rebellious nations into submission. Instead, something hidden was involved. Perhaps the ancient knowledge of the Nephilim and the power of the giants, a knowledge said to have disappeared after the flood, but which certain ancient rulers may have tried to recover. Among the great kings of this alliance, another powerful name rises from the depths of history: Chedorlaomer, the feared and commanding king of Elam. He ruled over the Elamites, one of the oldest known peoples descended from Shem, the son of Noah. His territory roughly matches what is modern-day Iran, but Chedorlaomer's influence stretched far beyond these lands, echoing across the entire Fertile Crescent. Ancient Elamite inscriptions refer to him as Kudur-Lagamar, a title that expressed strength, authority, and a level of respect acknowledged even by surrounding nations. But Chedorlaomer was not alone in his power. Beside him stood Arioch, king of Elisar, a kingdom whose exact location remains uncertain. Some scholars believe Elisar was in Asia Minor, possibly in Cappadocia or Antioch, regions known for their gigantic stone fortresses and ancient legends of half-divine warriors and rulers said to have walked with heavenly beings. Others propose that Elisar may have been an even more obscure kingdom, a forgotten city-state that rose briefly in history before disappearing beneath the sands, taking with it the secrets of its royal bloodline. Amraphel, king of Shinar, is linked to ancient Sumer, the birthplace of the earliest cities and the god-kings of Mesopotamia. Arioch, king of Elisar, is possibly connected to the region of Cappadocia, a land of massive stone fortresses and ancient trade networks in Asia Minor. Chedorlaomer, king of Elam, was a Semitic ruler descended from the Elamites, governing a territory that corresponds to present-day Iran. And Tidal, the king of nations, was the leader who unified scattered tribes of warriors, a diverse legion of different peoples who all followed his authority. When seen together, this evidence suggests that Tidal was far more than just another military partner. He may have been the commander of forgotten tribes, whose power did not come from bloodline or royal ancestry, but from his ability to inspire loyalty, command respect, and unite rival groups for a common purpose. In this sense, he truly embodied the title King of Nations. Under the leadership of these four rulers, Amraphel, Arioch, Chedorlaomer, and Tidal, one of the most mysterious events in the Old Testament unfolded, a war of enormous scale where humanity encountered the unimaginable. Genesis 14 describes a battle far beyond ordinary human warfare. It was not simply a dispute over land, it was a clash between kings and giants, a confrontation between human armies and beings of immense power, descendants of shadowy lineages that traced back to the time before the flood. According to ancient accounts, three races of giants rose up against the coalition of the four kings: the Rephaim, the Zuzim, and the Emim. Each race had its own unique qualities. Some were described as having bones as heavy as bronze. Others were said to be so tall that no ordinary human could stand beside them without seeming like a child. But all shared one terrifying trait: their unmatched strength and their fearsome reputation as unbeatable warriors. These enormous beings were the final survivors of a forgotten world, a world where the boundary between humanity and the divine had been broken, and where the echoes of the ancient rebellion of the Nephilim still lingered across the earth. Rephaim, the giants of Ashtaroth-Karnaim. The first of these titanic races mentioned in the account is the Rephaim. They were described as beings of immense size, with massive bodies and extraordinary muscle strength, towering up to 5 meters, over 16 feet, in height. Among the ancient peoples, even the mention of their name caused fear. They were not ordinary fighters. They were living giants, physical reminders of an age when the lines between mortals and divine beings had been erased. It was at Ashtaroth-Karnaim that the Rephaim confronted the armies of the four kings. The battle was a scene filled with terror. The earth shook beneath the weight of the giant's steps, and the collision of weapons echoed like thunder across the desert. A single blow from a Rephaim warrior could destroy an ordinary man instantly. Yet despite their overwhelming power, they were defeated by the strategy, coordination, and relentless force of the coalition led by Chedorlaomer. This victory was the first step in a larger campaign to subdue the lands dominated by these gigantic beings. But who exactly were the Rephaim? Ancient traditions offer unsettling answers. Many scholars and interpreters believe they were direct descendants of the Nephilim, the giants described in Genesis 6, survivors of the flood, remnants of a forbidden bloodline that escaped destruction and continued roaming the world. Others see them as a hybrid people, born from ancient unions between humans and heavenly beings. Zuzim, the hidden race swallowed by time. The second race mentioned is the Zuzim, a people covered in even deeper mystery. Scripture gives almost nothing about them, not their origins, not their appearance. They are mentioned only briefly as inhabitants of the land of Ham, and then they disappear from the biblical record as if time itself erased every trace of them. Under the leadership of Chedorlaomer, the four kings marched against the Zuzim, and again the blood of giants was spilled upon the earth. Lost accounts of this war describe screams echoing for days, spears snapping like twigs against their massive bodies, and a battle so brutal that even the deserts seemed to remember it. Yet even they were defeated. Were the Zuzim so terrifying that their existence had to be removed from the memory of mankind? Or were they the last survivors of a forbidden lineage whose remembrance was intentionally suppressed, preserved only in faint fragments within the oldest writings of humanity? Whatever the truth may be, the Zuzim remain an unsolved mystery in the story of the antediluvian races, a people buried under the sands of forgetfulness. Emim, the monstrous guardians of ancient lands. The third and perhaps most feared race were the Emim, a name in Hebrew and Aramaic, meaning the terrible ones or the monstrous. The very mention of their name caused terror. Their lands stretched across crucial territories that centuries later the Israelites would walk through during the Exodus. The Emim were often compared to the Anakim, another race of giants found in Scripture. The Moabites considered them related to the Rephaim, suggesting that all these groups descended from the same ancient colossal ancestors. the titans of a forgotten world. Descriptions portray the Emim as massive beings with fang-like teeth, long arms, and devastating physical power. They ruled the plains with an almost supernatural presence. No human army dared face them openly. And yet, when the coalition of 4 kings led by Chedorlaomer advanced against them, even these monstrous giants fell before the discipline and relentless strength of the allied forces. Scripture provides few details about what happened after this war, but the effects of the conflict are impossible to ignore. This confrontation with the 10,000 giants was not just a fight for land. It was a struggle for dominance over a fading world, a war meant to erase the final remnants of an age when giants still strutted across the earth. In the midst of bloodshed and destruction, the last power of the ancient colossi was finally silenced. Yet their legends never truly died. They linger in the shadows of history, whispering reminders that giants once walked among humanity. The battle was undeniably monumental, a collision between worlds. On one side stood the Rephaim, the Zuzim and the Emim, creatures with bodies like living stone, muscles that seemed supernatural, colossi whose very footsteps shook the ground. On the other side stood the 4 kings and their armies, men driven by purpose, discipline, and a fierce belief that they were not just fighting enemies, but confronting an ancient force that had to be removed from the earth forever. Ancient accounts say these giants could stand 4 to 5 meters tall, their strength equal to that of many ordinary men combined. And yet, human warriors raised their spears against them. In a battle that mixed bravery with desperation, humanity managed to prevail. But the victory came with a heavy price. The battlefield turned into a vast plain of blood and dust. The land where the fighting happened stayed marked for generations, as though the earth itself remembered the weight of the fallen titans. Thousands of soldiers died, crushed or ripped apart by these colossal beings. And still, step by step, the armies of men pushed forward, slowly overpowering the giants until every last one had been defeated. How did the 4 kings manage to overcome such tremendous force? Scripture gives no explanation. Some believe divine intervention helped turn the battle in favor of mankind. Others think the victory may have depended on weapons or tactics passed down from older civilizations, perhaps even handed down from celestial beings. Whatever the truth may be, after that day the roar of the giants faded, and humanity continued on, never fully realizing what they had defeated or what they had erased from the world. And now I want to hear from you. Had you ever heard of this forgotten conflict, this epic clash between men and giants during the time of Abraham? What are your thoughts on this account? Share your comments and reflections below. This concludes another chapter in our series exploring the giants described in Scripture. If this story has sparked your curiosity, be sure to watch the other episodes. They'll be displayed at the end of this video. May God bless you all. See you again soon.